Accepting death. Krisha Gautami's story shows us something we can observe again and again. A close encounter with death can bring a real awakening, a transformation to our whole approach to life. Take, for example, the near-death experience. Perhaps one of its most important revelations is how it transforms the lives of those who have been through it. Researchers have noted a startling range of after effects and changes: a reduced fear and deeper acceptance of death, an increased concern for helping others, an enhanced vision of the importance of love, less interest in materialistic pursuits, a growing belief in the spiritual dimension and the spiritual meaning of life, and, of course, a greater openness to the belief in the afterlife. One man said to Kenneth Ring, "I was transformed from a man who was lost and wandering aimlessly with no goal in life other than the desire for material wealth, to someone who had a deep motivation, a purpose in life, a definite direction, and an overpowering conviction that there would be a reward at the end of life. My interest in material wealth and greed for possessions were replaced by a thirst for spiritual understanding and a passionate desire to see the world conditions improve." A woman told Margot Gray, a British researcher into the near-death experience, "The things that I felt slowly were a very heightened sense of love, the ability to communicate love, the ability to find joy and pleasures in the smallest and most insignificant things about me. I developed a great compassion for people that were ill and facing death, and I wanted so much to let them know, to somehow make them aware that the dying process was nothing more than an extension of one's life." We all know how life-menacing crises, such as serious illness, can produce transformations of a similar depth. Freda Naylor, a doctor who courageously kept a diary as she died of cancer, wrote, "I have had experiences which I never would have had, for which I have to thank cancer. Humility, coming to terms with my own mortality, knowledge of my inner strength, which continually surprises me, and more things about myself that I have discovered, because I have had to stop in my tracks, reassess, and proceed. If we can indeed reassess and proceed with this newfound humility and openness, and a real acceptance of our death, we will find ourselves much more receptive to spiritual instructions and spiritual practice. This receptivity could well open us yet another marvelous possibility, that of true healing. I remember a middle-aged American woman came to see Sogyal Rinpoche in New York in 1976. She had no particular interest in Buddhism, but had heard there was a great master in town. She was extremely sick, and in her desperation, she was willing to try anything, even see a Tibetan master. At that time, I was his translator. She came into the room and sat down in front of Sogyal Rinpoche. She was so moved by her own condition and his presence that she broke down into tears. She blurted out, "My doctor has only given me a few months to live. Can you help me? I am dying." To her surprise, in a gentle yet compassionate way, Sogyal Rinpoche began to chuckle. Then he said quietly, "You see, we are all dying. It's only a matter of time. Some of us just die sooner than others." With these few words, he helped her to see the universality of death, and that her impending death was not unique. This eased her anxiety. Then he talked about dying and the acceptance of death, and he spoke about the hope there is in death. At the end, he gave her a healing practice, which she followed enthusiastically. Not only did she come to accept death, but by following the practice with complete dedication, she was healed. I have heard many other cases of people who were diagnosed as terminally ill and given only a few months to live. When they went into solitude and followed spiritual practice and faced themselves and the fact of death, they were healed. What is this telling us? That when we accept death, transform our attitude toward life, and discover the fundamental connection between life and death, a dramatic possibility for healing can occur. Tibetan Buddhists believe that illnesses such as cancer can be a warning, to remind us that we have been neglecting deep aspects of our being, such as our spiritual needs. If we take this warning seriously and change fundamentally the direction of our lives, there is a very real hope for healing not only our body, but our whole being.